Hello, everybody. My name is Rebecca Jepson. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit more with you all about the life of B.F. Skinner. He is also known as Burrhus Frederick Skinner, but more often goes as B.F. Skinner. To start out, I'd like to say a quote by him. It's something that he said. He said, "Education is what survives when what has been learned has been forgotten." B.F. Skinner had a big influence on education and through psychology. Maybe you guys know a little bit about him from the reading this week, but I'm going to share a little bit more about his life and what impacts he made through his theories that he researched through psychology. So B.F. Skinner was born on March 20th, 1904, and he was born and raised in Susquehanna, Pennsylvania. His father was a lawyer and his mother was a stay-at-home mom, and it was just Skinner and his little brother. And Skinner's little brother actually died from a brain aneurysm when he was just 16 years old. And it didn't say in the research, but I imagine that probably had to do a little bit with why Skinner ended up later in life going into psychology to know a little bit more about the brain and how people think. Ever since Skinner was little, he was very creative. He always was making little inventions and things. It told of a story in research that I found that him and a friend, they would pick elderberries and then they would go door to door selling them, and he created a little flotation device, I guess you could say, that would bring the ripe berries to the top and separate them from the green berries so that they could sell the ready and ripe berries. And he would also build things such as roller scooters, wagons, sleds, just little things he could find and make all sorts of little things. So ever since he was little, he was creative, he was a thinker. He graduated from high school. He went through kindergarten to high school in the same building and graduated with 8 other students. And then he went on and he started his college at a college named Hamilton College. And that's where he began to pursue writing because he loved to write and it was his passion. And after graduating, he actually graduated in English. And he tried to kind of do the whole writing thing for a while, but it wasn't working out. It wasn't easy at that time. There weren't really many writers. And so it didn't seem to be working out for him. So after trying that for about 2 years, he decided to kind of change the direction of his life and to go into psychology. So he ended up going to Harvard University. And in Harvard University, he studied psychology and he loved it. And so he graduated from Harvard in psychology, and that just set him on a whole new world of thinking. And he started really focusing and studying psychology, especially studying behavior of people, but he started out with the behavior of animals. Maybe you guys have heard of the Skinner box. He invented a box for animals, specifically for rats and for pigeons, that would test their conditioning. He would test what kind of things they needed to get them motivated. So one of them was that the pigeon or the rat, they would go up and they would tap a little button, and then food would come out. And so as they saw that the food was come out, they would learn that if they tapped the button, the food would come out. And so that proved his theory that as humans, as animals, whatever it may be, that when there's consequences, whether good or bad, that directs our behavior. And so it's kind of the principle of reinforcement of consequences, whether good or bad. And no one had really discovered that yet. Skinner was kind of the first one to come up with those ideas about behavior. And so again, he went on to write several books about behavior from his studies. And those have become famous books. He won many awards in psychology for discovering those new things that people hadn't discovered before, mainly doing with behavior. Um, and so some of his works are, he wrote a book called Beyond Freedom and Dignity, about another book called About Behaviorism. Um, he wrote one called The Behavior of Organisms. So all of these books kind of describe things that he found in his research, that describe why it is that we do the things that we do and how we can direct people's behavior. So B.F. Skinner, he ended up dying in 1990 after he had a wife and kids, and that also had motivated his research, his kids and how that worked in their education throughout his life. But in 1989 he got leukemia, and it was pretty bad because he ended up dying the next year in 1990, in his house in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And he made a great impact on the world. He was a great thinker. He made a difference. He wasn't afraid to test things, research things, and bring up new ideas, new theories. And many people since his theories have added to those theories. I'm grateful that I was able to research B.F. Skinner because I thought a lot about people and how they think and why they do the things they do. Just lately being at college and recently returning from my mission, just what is it that motivates me? What is it that motivates other people? And so I'm grateful that I was able to study B.F. Skinner because it's interesting, our behavior and why we do the things that we do. And I'm grateful for his theories about reinforcement, about consequences, because I believe that those do drive our actions, especially within the realm of education, and helping younger generations to learn as there are consequences, good and bad. It helps them to learn. It helps us to learn as well here in college. And so I'm grateful for B.F. Skinner. I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to do research about him, and I hope that you all learned something. Thanks for listening.